Hi everyone, Sat here helping you go from daydreaming about development to being an actual developer. For those of you who are celebrating it, Merry Christmas. This is my seasonal gift to everybody. It's based off of the comments. It was requested something to do with collisions. So here we are. I'm going to be showing you how to have your cat collide with a present, and when it does, the present disappears or gets destroyed and fireworks appear. So it's quite a nice effect, and you can replace with whatever you like. Thanks for all the support, and let's get started. So if you want to continue this project on right from where we are, you can download the full source code in the previous tutorial. So let's jump straight into this. You've seen what we're going to build. We're going to build something that involves Christmas presents. So I've searched the asset store for that, and I'm going to download this free Christmas presents low poly pack by clicking import, and then once it pops up I will import everything in there. I mean, I don't need everything, but I'm going to do it anyway. And once it's in, I'm going to just shift it to the free store assets folder because I just want it to be a little bit more tidier. There we go. So we're gonna use you can use any prefab you want for this, by the way, but I'm going to use the presents one, and I'm going to also use this on our cat prefab. So let's take our cat out. We want it to collide with the cat. We want our cat to collide with the present, I should say. So let's go to our Christmas presents prefabs, and let's take out the present game object, and let's put that next to the cat. We can see it's pretty big actually. Well, it's bloody huge. So that's not gonna work as it is. So we're gonna have to shrink this down to, I'm pretty sure this was the amount that looked good when I was testing this out. So let's try that. Go directly to that. So you can play around with stuff yourself or whatever prefab it is you use. But I think this is going to work for the size of the present. There we go. So it's around the same size as it. I mean, it could be smaller, it could be bigger, but I quite like that size. So I'm going to now hit apply to this box because I want every present prefab that we use, that we pull into the game, to be this size. So what I also want to do is, for this particular piece of code, I don't want to be using the other cat, the first cat. I just want to be using this cat. So I'm going to go into our code. I'm going to have a reference to that game object, right? So public game object. What should we call this? Let's call this item to place, because I want to place some items, and the item I'm going to place is going to be the present now. And I'm also going to have to, so in this particular area, what we do is when we tap on the ground, we place cats. I don't want to do that anymore. I just want to have one cat on our first touch, and then afterwards I just want to be placing those presents. So I'm going to get rid of this code, right? Now, because our code's pretty well made, we don't need to do many changes. We can just kind of hide that code, and instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new function called place item, and I'm going to create a function here called public void place item. Oops, we don't need to do that. We need to write some code in it. In fact, it can probably be private because I don't think we're going to call this outside of this. Okay, and since it's placing an item, we need to know the place that we're placing it, which means we're going to send in that hit.point from our previously we were using this to place our cat. Now we're going to be using it to place our present placement. Let's call it placement, and we're going to be placing our item there. What we're actually going to be doing is instantiating our item at the point that we tap, which kind of makes sense. I think that's a pretty good way of looking at it. Okay, so I'm going to call this placement position actually, so that makes a little bit more sense. And we're going to use the code that we've basically always been using. So we've got an anchor point, since we're using it in ARCore. We want to anchor the gift that we're putting at the present item. We're going to anchor it first of all, and we also want to then instantiate the item similar to what we've been doing here. So let's see if we can find some instantiate code. There we go. There's we were creating cats. Instead of creating cats, we want to now create, and it went on to the next line, so I copy that as well. We want to now create the item to place, right? I think we can bring this up here on the same line. So let's take this, I've just pasted this in, and let's put this here, because we don't want to create a cat, we want to create place the item. And what I'm also going to do is I'm just going to change this, refactor this to a lowercase I, item to place. It should really be item to place, since we're just placing the present. If we wanted to create more items, we could do that, but for now we're going to keep it simple. So item to place, this obviously needs to be here instead, because we're passing the hit point reference in here. So let's change that. Quaternion.identity means it means 0, 0, 0 play position, and then we have our anchor point, which is created here. The anchor point needs the placement position as well, so let's put that here. Great, so now every time we tap, we'll place the item once we've placed our first cat. So what we also need to do is go back into our hello AR code, and we want to change it so that we're not placing multiple cats. Well, there's a few things we want to change this. So let's change the first cat to be placed down to be the cartoon cat now, rather than the low poly cat. And then we're going to change the size to 1, because we're not going to have 2 cats now, just for this exercise, because I just wanted to create this one cat following item. And then the item to place, we want to put down our presence prefab. Well, we haven't made this into a prefab actually. I mean, it was already one, but let's create a new prefab here in our prefabs folder, right? Since we're using that specifically for our game, and then let's put this item to place prefab here. So when we tap, we'll create this cat, and every other time we tap going forwards, we'll put down presence. So that sorts that out, and that's based off of nothing new. This is based off of the code that we ordinarily do. So now what we want to do is we want to change a few things here, right? So this present app that we got here, a present game object. Well, let's change the ARCore, put some diffuse light estimation so it looks like it's part of the world once we drop it in there. And we also want to go, if we remember, this pane attachment script. So this will really help make sure the item stays in the world rather than kind of jumps around and bounces around. We don't want that. We want it to look like it's really attached to the floor. So let's add that pane attachment script as well, and then let's hit apply, of course, because we want that to be applied in there. We need to create a situation where the cat hits the game object of the present, and when it does, the present kind of explodes and is destroyed. So for that to happen, our present needs to have a collider for first of all, and it needs to also be a trigger. I don't really want it to be a physical thing, so let's actually remove this mesh collider. It's a bit unnecessary. And then let's add a box collider, and then let's make it a trigger as well. Now the box collider is pretty big, so I'm gonna actually, well, we could shrink it down. I mean, I'm not too fussed about it, to be honest with you. Now that I've said it, now that I've looked at it, I don't think there's that much of a need for it, but I'll do it anyway. Alright, so the box collider is there. So that's we can now use that box collider to register a collision. So let's go back to the present prefab, and then we need to run some code when we actually collide with it. So let's add a script called on destroy trigger, right? Because what we're going to do, as soon as the cat hits the object, it's going to destroy it, and we'll add that code in as well in a bit. So let's look at what we can write here. And of course, when we destroy this game object, we want to start a particle effect. So let's create the game object for this, the particle effect, which is going to be some fireworks, and then let's instantiate those fireworks on destroy. So destroy, that's not right, it's got to be on destroy. We want to instantiate the particle effect at the transform dot position and transform dot rotation. Okay, so now our present, when it gets destroyed, why don't I just wait for this to load. When something collides with it, it will run the destroy code. The destroy trigger will start a particle effect. Now we don't have a particle effect, and we don't actually have anything colliding with the box yet because we haven't done anything to the cat. So before I even run this code, let me just comment this out, save it, and let's go back here and let's fix our cat, because the cat isn't quite right either now, is it? It needs to have a few things attached to it as well. So let's go to our cat and let's add on a box collider as well, so it registers actually that it's colliding to, and then we're also going to add on, this box collider is pretty big, so let's just increase the center to 0.5, that's better, and let's reduce the size to, let's see, let's reduce to X, I think, to 0.5, that's better. It's not that wide, so that's okay. And let's reduce maybe the Z as well. Maybe let's change it to 0.8. Maybe 1's okay actually. Maybe 1 is alright. It's not so bad. I guess it's the front of the face that we want to collide. So yeah, let's leave it as that. And then let's also add in, since it's actually colliding, a rigid body as well, but we don't want it to have any gravity, so let's change it to kinematic. So now we can actually create a script for colliding, an actual collider script. So let's do that now to our cat. Go down here and let's add collide with item. Maybe collide with items. Collide with item. Yeah, let's do that. Collide with item. And then in our collide with item script, what we want to have is a trigger. So as soon as it hits the what's it called, the present, or actually anything that has a collider on it. In this case, we have a box collider on our gift, that present item that we've done. We want to destroy it. We want to destroy the game object. In this particular example that we're creating, that works, right? Because we've got the on destroy. As soon as we destroy the present, as soon as it collides with it, it will initiate this destroy code, and this destroy code will create some fireworks, right? So let's actually, before we go any further, let's just save this, because we've done quite a lot of work actually, and there's probably going to be some errors. We changed the cat code, we created a prefab for the so there's a null item here. I don't know what that's about, so let's just see if we can run it. I mean, this is in beta, so sometimes there's errors. So the cat should still follow the camera. Good. So let's actually let's stop this for a second, and let's move this present over here between the cat and the camera, so the cat will be forced to walk through the present, and let's see if that destroys the present. If that does, then we've actually got everything working perfectly. Perfect. It destroyed the present. I'm surprised there was no errors there. The plane attachment scripts, because obviously ARCore hasn't found any planes we're testing in Unity. So let's save this again. Let's go to our cat. Let's hit apply, because this cat isn't actually going to be in the game, is it? As in, we want the cat prefab to also have this collide with item scripts, and the box collider and rigid body didn't have that before, so we have to make sure we apply those changes. Let's go to our present. Now before I hit apply, we need it actually to be a particle effect. If you go to Unity and you hit assets and you go to import package, you should be able to see particle effects, particle systems. So let's import these. So these come with Unity. Now you can have any ones you want. I'm just looking at them. I think this one does have a fireworks one. So we could just use the fireworks for when the present opens up. You could do anything you like though, but I think that will work. You could even have it create. It doesn't have to be a particle effect. It could be something else. As soon as you hit the present, one of the other game objects, like a teddy bear, comes out, so that would work just as well. In fact, that's what a lot of people use for stuff in games where they hit a treasure chest and the treasure chest explodes and out pops out another item. That kind of this is the same kind of logic. So it's just importing all of those for us now, and once it's imported, we're going to select. There we go. Standard assets, particle prefab. We're going to select the fireworks one. Let's just put that in the scene and see what that looks like. Okay, so that looks great, but it's also a mobile app, so we have to remember that this isn't really designed for mobile. This particular prefab, you can see there's a lot going on here. Some of these say mobile, so you can see that if I just switch this one off, you can see that the mobile ones are probably going to be a lot smaller. Let's try this flare mobile. It's not as heavy as the fireworks one. Still quite a lot going on. So what we can do with this fireworks one is we can reduce it somewhat. So if I put this back on again, because I want to be able to see it, let's just shift this across. We can, there we go, so that we can see our cat and our prefab particle system. And what I'm going to do, what I want to do is I don't want to loop it. I think that's the first problem that we've got. This seemed to be going on forever. So let's play it again. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's about 5 seconds, and then it stops. So that's a bit better. And then we also want to, it took a bit of time to start up, so let's change the start lifetime to, maybe let's change it to 0.1, and let's see what that looks like. If I hit restart, okay, that's a lot nicer. It comes out almost immediately, which is a lot better. You want it to appear immediately from the box, from the gift as soon as it opens up. There's still a lot of particles, so let's just reduce these max particles, maybe change this to 5, and then for smoke change this. That's a lot. Is that 10,000? Is that? Okay, so let's try one more time and see what that looks like. That was good. I'm a lot happier with that. Maybe though we don't need 5 seconds. Is 5 seconds too long? Maybe we don't even need. Maybe that's too long as well. Okay, so look, you can play around with this, and again, it depends on what you pick. Maybe one's definitely not long enough. Okay, I'm going to leave it as 3 seconds for now. I think that's good enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm also going to hit apply. Okay, so I've just noticed something. This, if I hit restart, this kind of shoots up into the sky, which looks great. But the rotation is at -90, which means if I had it at 0, in fact I'll show you, if I put this at 0 and I restarted it, it won't actually go up, it will shoot out. There you go, shot out this way. So the axes are a little bit off on this particular game object. Maybe it was made in a Maya or something. Some of them have a different axis one. So what we can do is we can create an empty game object. Here, set this one to 0, and then put the firework inside this game object. So now the fireworks object is at 0, 0, 0, 90, which means it's pointing up, which is correct. And this game object is on 0, 0, 0, and the reason I want this on 0, 0, 0 is because when we instantiate our game object, we're going to instantiate it at the 0, 0, 0 point of the present. So now let's take this game object that has the firework one in it. Let's call it firework parent. And then let's put this in our prefabs folder. So now we have a fireworks parent, we have a present one. And then let's also put the particle effect. Let's link these up in here. So I believe, and let's apply as well. Apply these changes, apply these changes, and then if I press play, it should work the way we want. So let's see, should move into the. Okay, so it went off, and the reason it went off early is because we still had this one in here. So let's get rid of this this one. In fact, we can just delete this for now. And let's try again. So there shouldn't be any fireworks until the cat hits the present. So let's take a look. Okay, so that didn't work. It didn't seem to kick off. So let's see if we can figure out why that didn't happen. Firework. Firework. Well, I didn't spell that right for starters. I know why it didn't work actually. Let's change this to a K. Just for our own sakes. Let's see. Did this update? I did. Brilliant. So the reason why is because I'm pretty sure the undestroyed trigger code, we removed the instantiate code, which is okay. It's a simple mistake. We did that because originally it would have given us an error because we only just put that we only just linked those two game objects up. So now it will instantiate the particle effect. The particle effect is the fireworks one. It will be the transform position of the present and the rotation of the present as well. And the present should be kind of here. The correct rotation should be all linked up because we've set that up, and we should be able to press play now, and fingers crossed it will work. Let me just save this and hit play. There we go, we got it. That looked great. So I'm really happy with that. Obviously we can have multiple presents, multiple places, because now you can walk your cat, because your cat's following the camera, you can walk your cat into different presents, and you could have different items coming out of the presents and different items that your cat collides with as well. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and I will probably see you in 2018. So enjoy your holidays if you have some, and I will see you soon.